Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now before you get confused, no, this is not a concept car, but this is actually a road going car from Lexus, which is the LC500. It is like a brute in a suit and it's more like a Japanese interpretation of a muscle car. So it has a V8 inside it. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you all the interiors, the exteriors, and we'll be going on the most exciting drive in this LC500. So starting from the front, notice how low this car sits, and it's a beautiful car and it's got so many angles, flowing angles, and not the sharp ones but really smooth angles. But let's start off from the front. So you get this big iconic Lexus grille, and also it's not just the flat grille but it's got an angle to it. It's like more like a 3D when you look at it from the side and from every angle, and it's like in a dark gray color along with the Lexus logo. And you also have this chrome surround around that grille, and then you get this big LED headlight cluster. Now this has 3 projector LEDs inside, compact ones, and they look so good at night. And then you have these DRLs at the bottom, and then also the turn signals. There are these actual vents now, not the fake vents but actual vents that sort of help in cooling the brake duct and stuff. And then there is this long bonnet in the front, and then underneath it, I'm not going to let you all wait for a long time to know what is inside this. So it's got a 5-liter V8 naturally aspirated engine that produces 540 Newton meters of torque and 471 brake horsepower, and it has the world's first 10-speed automatic gearbox. I mean you would just think that 10 speed is just too much, but trust me, it isn't. It is just fun. And also it has magnesium paddle shifters. This is like a driving and a driver focused car, and also it's luxurious, and it's a 2-door coupe. Now continuing on the side, notice how long this car is, and it's such a gorgeous car. I mean, every angle you look at it, my god, it's just fabulous. And look at the roof line sloping down in the back, and it's a 2-door coupe version, which I mentioned before. So you get 20-inch rims, and these are run flat tires. There are also big brake calipers and also brake disc, and these brake calipers have Lexus inscribed on them, and they are like black color. And you also get a chrome strip on top of that which continues till the back, and then you get this skirting on the side again. So the car actually broadens in the front, and then again narrows in the middle, and then again broadens out so much in the back. And then you get protruding side mirrors, and these are power foldable, and also they have a yellow tint inside them. And then during the daylight, it's just so much eye pleasing when you look at it. And also they have the blind spot warning system and also the turning lights inside them. And then you get these big windows, and they are, mind you, very thick glasses also. And then this fancy opening door handles, and then they also have the Lexus Mark L logo on them. That is so cool. And there are more vents for the rear brake ducts, and then again these vents are not just fake vents, but they are actually real vents. Like I can just show you, there is and then again in the back you get 20-inch rims. And then notice these tail lights. This is, by the way, the best part about, oh my god, I'm so excited. It's the best part about the LC500. These tail lights are such an iconic ones. In fact, whenever I've been around on the roads, people have been noticing this car. They've been stopping at the signal, giving me a thumbs up, or just getting down and clicking a photo. Just a while back there were people clicking photos. Now back is something where the LC500 becomes an absolutely beautiful car. And first of all, notice these tail lights. These are LED tail lights, and these tail lights have like a 3D effect inside them. So when they are illuminated, it looks like a 3D hologram inside it. And then also the turning lights are at the bottom, and then you notice this star shaped sort of triangular thing which is goes on the side. But anyways, it's just lovely. And at the bottom there are twin actually the quad exhaust, 2 on both the sides, and then you have a big single chrome tip on both the sides. And then this is actually the first time when I actually like the chrome used on a car. I don't usually like too much of chrome, but in this it looks absolutely stunning. Like, it actually carries in a lot better way than any other car I've seen for sure. LC500 badging, and also again there are so many lines that are going around. And then notice how the back really broadens, the hunch in the back. In order to open the boot, there is a button right next to the tail lights, and then when you press that, you still get a usable boot space of 197 liters. It's a little small, but I mean, you can still put like a small bag for sure inside it. And at the bottom you would find the battery for this car and also various bit of tools, but there is no spare wheel. And also there is a scruff plate, a small one, so that you don't obviously damage your expensive LC500, but otherwise it's at least a usable one, and that is pretty good. And now in terms of the visibility, this car surprisingly has such a good visibility, even though the glass is sort of tapering in the back, but it still has a visibility that can clearly show you everything. Now, if you've ever sat inside a Lexus before, you know how grand and luxurious they can be, and in this car they've dialed it up by 10 times for sure in terms of the quality and craftsmanship, and also the use of rich material. So let me start demonstrating you. Like, everywhere there is soft touch leather, every single place, and also Alcantara mixture of that on the door cards. Looks absolutely gorgeous in the red color. And not even that, even at the bottom they haven't used any cheap plastics anywhere. It's just soft touch plastics or leather covered plastics every single place. That is a mark of true quality. They've paid attention to that because they obviously wanted to give you like a proper luxurious grand tourer for sure. And then in the center you get a big dial with the screen inside it, where you can see a lot of details like your fuel consumption. You can have it blank. There's also a G sensor. There is also the gear position, in which gear you are in. There is also tire pressure and also the range and everything and all that you can see. But this center binnacle can also move around on the right side. When you press the back button, it actually shifts and you can hear the dial shifting, and then you get more information on the sides where you can change the settings of all the dials and the units that you want to see, and also the messages and the music and navigation and so much more details. And when you want to return back, press that back button again, and then it comes back in the center. That looks extremely good, especially when you see it in person. Trust me, this is like next level. Instead of the digital one, they like that feel, but in this it's just next level. And coming to the steering wheel, it is 4-way electronically adjustable, the tilt and telescopic, and then you get these big magnesium paddle shifters in the back. Real mark of quality. Again, leather covered steering wheel, and on the right side you get your adaptive cruise control controls, and also the controls for your infotainment at the bottom. And on the left side, again, the controls to change all the options on the center screen, and also again for the infotainment, the volume and everything. So they've split the infotainment system on both the sides, so you utilize both your fingers while using the steering wheel. The air conditioning system is button control, everything except for the ventilated seats. Now that ventilated seat is actually controlled from inside the infotainment screen, and it's a bit of a fuzz when you try to use that system, because there is a trackpad with which you have to use this infotainment system. I'm going to come to that. But anyways, the AC controls are straightforward dials, but they don't have anything marked on them, but instead they have the visuals on the screen itself. So using that, you have to control the AC controls. And then there are vents cleverly put around on the dashboard. You would find it pretty hard at first to spot those vents, but they are inside the cabin, and then very well placed actually. And there are also more buttons that you would see on both the sides of the center screen. And there is one traction control button on the left side, and on the right side there is a dial to actually switch from sport to sport plus mode, and also into comfort and the eco mode or the normal mode. So using that, you can shift the car into different modes. The fit and finish on it is just amazing. And coming to the infotainment screen, now this infotainment screen is not a touch screen, but it's got a glass panel on it, and this actually glass panel continues till the end of the dashboard. In fact, the dashboard itself looks so gorgeous, you know. And then there is this famous Lexus clock out here on the left side. But coming to the infotainment screen, now that infotainment screen is controlled using the trackpad out here and a few more buttons out here, and there is also a support to rest your hand. But the thing with the infotainment screen is it's a very fuzzy system, because you have to dig through a lot of options. Although the trackpad has capacitive response in it, so whenever you try to go to any option, it actually vibrates to give you that sense of button. But it's just a very difficult task to, you know, actually get. And sometimes I've actually missed a few options when I go to it, and then, you know, when I try to press it. But you get the navigation system, your media controls, your apps, and also the setup, and also the climate feature. So also the climate can be controlled from the on screen also, as well as the buttons. Now in terms of the connectivity, you get Bluetooth, USB, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay. So you get these options, and then you can connect your phone using that. But otherwise the infotainment screen is, I mean, there are buttons also, like for the menus, the maps, the radio, the media, and everything. There's also a beautiful track and tune button. You know, there are dials for it. There is a dial for the volume. The fit and finish is amazing. I keep mentioning that because they've paid special attention to quality in this, and I have to mention that for sure, because you really have to sit in here and feel, you know, how spoiled you get in this luxury of sitting in some rich materials. And there is Alcantara even on the side frame and also on the roof. And then you get frameless rear view mirror, again that is also dimming. So the Lexus LC500 also has a glass roof, but it doesn't open but a glass roof, and it's still alright, because, you know, you can still open and have the, you know, very airy room inside the cabin. Notice how big this center tunnel is, and, you know, it actually divides the two passenger, and also there are handles on both the sides for the passengers to grab onto in case you go nuts, you know, in the sport or the sport plus mode. But anyways, in terms of the storage space, now the LC500 actually lags a little bit in terms of the usable storage space. You get one cup holder out here. There's one more cup holder out here in the center console. Both are in the center console, and also there is a center armrest, and there is storage inside it where you have the auxiliary cable and also 2 USB and also 120-watt power socket, and that is pretty much it in terms of the charging that you get in this car. But in terms of the door cards, there is not much to put, you know, in terms of the usable space. You cannot put any of your bottles or anything, because it's a very small space. So notice the doors are also pretty long, and I am sitting way ahead when the actual frame is behind, and also the seat belt. Now coming to the seats in that case, so the seats are these red color leather seats, and they are ventilated seats, so they are cool seats. Again, you can operate them from the infotainment system using the trackpad, but these seats are absolutely comfortable. In fact, this headrest is one of my favorite bits, because it's such a soft headrest, especially when you're cruising and you want to rest your head. So driver seat is 10-way electronically adjustable along with the headrest, and 2-way lumbar support, which is adjustable, and also same for the passenger. But in terms of the, I was mentioning about the seat belt. Now that seat belt, there is a clip, and you can put the seat belt inside it so that it doesn't roll all the way back, so that whenever you sit and you want the seat belt, it is always handy, and you don't have to put your hand all the way in the back into the frame. That is very clever. Also, there are 2 more seats in the back, but I don't think that's more of a usable space. It's only for the kids, or you can put your extra luggage in the back. So there are 2 seats, and that center console goes all the way till the back. There is also a Mark & Levinson 13-speaker music system on this one. 13 speakers inside this small space. So like I've already counted, and they are everywhere around, and the surround sound on this is fantastic. There's also a DVD player which is given in this LC500. Now coming to the gear lever, the gear lever has a very different style of shifting, you know. So you actually have to press it on the left side, and then you have to you can either go in the neutral when you press it like that, or when you push it in the front, you go into the reverse. You can hear it, and then you can push it in the back, and pull it towards yourself, then you go into the drive mode. And if you want to go into the manual mode, just straight pull it towards your side, and then you are into the manual mode. And if you want to go into the park mode, you can press the P button. So it gets a little used to understanding how the gear lever actually works. In terms of the visibility, the LC500 is an absolutely wonderful car that way, because there are not many blind spots, although a few ones on the C pillars. But apart from that, like these big long windows, because of these doors, give you ample of visibility on the side and also from the rear view mirrors. And these side mirrors actually extend all the way from the side body, and actually you can see your own car in the back, and that is such a fantastic thing to look at. There's also a heads-up display on this LC500, and that heads-up display can be customized from the center console, the center screen itself, and then you get a varied amount of information. Like you get to see your revs, you can also see the speed and also the navigation, like a compass on it, and also you can see so this car has lane keep assist system, so you can get all the lane guidance features on that HUD itself. And you can switch off the heads-up display very easily. There's a button given on the left side, just press that and it switches off. No more complicated digging into the system and then finding how to switch it off. You can directly switch it on and off for the flick of that button. So the LC500 comes with a V8 naturally aspirated 5-liter engine that produces, as I mentioned before, 471 brake horsepower and 540 Newton meters of torque. And this 10-speed gearbox, which is the first one in the world, is absolutely fantastic. Even the power delivery while cruising. Currently I am in comfort mode, and this is by far, such a comfortable drive and a super linear power delivery from the engine side. And it's actually very easy to just cruise along, and you don't even realize that you're going through 10 gears, because on its own the car is doing quite well with the automatic system. But when it comes to performance, it's got, so slam the foot hard, it suddenly comes alive, even though it takes a little half a second. Hear that? The downshifts on this car, you can hear every single thing. It's got that raw muscular sound that is deafening, yet at the same time it is just lovely. And also you don't actually hear a lot inside the cabin. It's only when you hear it from outside is when you start realizing how loud this car is. And this is just the stock exhaust producing so much of sound. And this just shows that the grade of quality materials that they have used, and also the soundproofing inside this cabin is absolutely amazing, because it's such a quiet cabin. I have recently been onto a mountain drive which was about 300 kilometers of a drive, and that drive was full of mountain roads and the straight highway sections where I was cruising along at almost 120 and up to 140, and this car was just such a quiet one. But when it came to the mountain roads, I just had to flick it. In fact, I am now going to flick it into the Sport Plus mode, and suddenly everything becomes just so much better and firmer. The suspensions become firm, the throttle response becomes sharper, and also the steering becomes much more responsive. And then when you slam oh, that is, it suddenly comes alive. It's like an altogether different animal that you just open up. And especially if you're bold enough to just press and switch off the traction control, it will go absolutely nuts. And let me put it in the manual mode. Now the paddle shifts are actually made out of magnesium, big long one, and the suspension setup, wow, sorry, I keep getting distracted from the facts, but did you hear that bang? Oh, it keeps popping and banging, especially when you are in the manual mode. So when you that was the red lining. Whoa, that is absolutely nuts. It's just insane. It just becomes so alive, so responsive, and also the suspension setup is just on the right side, where it's not very hard and it's not very soft, but yet it gives you that comfortable ride, and they are adaptive suspension. Now coming to the steering wheel lacks a little bit of the weight to it, because when I am trying to move, I feel like it's a little sluggish, and it tends to be a little understeery sometimes when you are caught unaware, like whoa, yeah, like that. So but anyways, this is like a sandy piece of tarmac, so which is why it is slithering about a lot, but that way it's a little sluggish, what I found, like and it lacks a little bit of weight, because this car is like almost 1950 kilograms, and you actually don't feel the weight through the steering wheel. And I sometimes feel like at higher speeds you need that weight to the steering wheel, but that's still not a complaint to what you can do. Ripping the tarmac, you will not believe how quickly you go from 0 to whatever speed that I am mentioning, which is the berserk speed that I am mentioning, in like in a snap. And it's all inside this luxurious cabin, and it's such a lovely grand tourer. You just get inside, start driving, and it's just got that character, that personality, like a charmer from outside. And it's just got the stance where you take it anywhere, people are going to look at you for sure, and they are going to take a picture. So be ready for that when you take this one. Now coming to the brakes, because this car is so big and huge, you really need the braking power, and braking is one of the strongest points of this LC500. I'm going to be demonstrating you that now. Oh, that ripped my face apart. Wow, that was rippy. So you get 4 disc brakes and big brake calipers on all 4 of them. This car is also filled with quite a lot of safety systems. So you get 2 airbags in the front for the driver and the passenger, 4 curtain airbags on this side. There are also 2 side airbags, and also 1 knee airbag for the driver. So there is also a traction control system, there is vehicle stability system, there are child isofix points in the back, there is also a single camera reversing system. That is all right, but you know what, it's everything is given in terms of the safety system. It's just the car that is going to really surprise you with every bit of it every single time you get in. Like, it's been like 4 days I've been with this car, and not one moment I've had that phase where I want to just get out of the car. I just want to be in this car and just keep doing this, like just keep driving it till I would admit that I have actually gone overboard, and I have just literally stayed out of 4 days, 3 days inside the car driving it, and just experiencing, because you don't get to experience these cars a lot. There are rarely cars like these that come up, and I am so glad that Lexus has maintained the design of this car, which is more like a concept type, and which is why it just is so appealing when it is on the road and eye-catching. This is the maddest Lexus after the LFA for sure, and it is pleasing to the eyes and also to the ears, and it's a resounding proof that until the petrol powered engines are taken on a stretcher and taken away for good, this is still the way forward. Anyways, that is pretty much it for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I shall see you in the next video.